Hello viewers, welcome to you all in this new lecture on series of transformer. In this video lecture, we will study about the losses in transformer. I am Dr. Vijay Sharma, Assistant Professor in Department of Physics, Government Mahila Engineering College, Ajmer. As we know that an ideal transformer is one which has 100% efficient. However, in reality, nothing in the universe is ever ideal. So similarly, due to a number of electrical losses inside the core and winding of the transformer, we never get to see a 100% efficient transformer. So we will see what type of losses can be occur in this transformer, and following are the contents of this video lecture, that is losses in transformer. In this particular video lecture, we will study about the copper losses, iron losses, hysteresis loss, eddy current losses. We will also solve two problems related to the losses in the transformer, and two assignment problems are also given so that viewers can evaluate themselves for the title. So let us begin with this. So as we know that transformer is a static device, so we do not get to see any movement, and due to this there will be no mechanical loss exists, and frequency will also not be changed because there is no relative motion between the two coils, and only the electrical losses are observed in the transformer, since the transformer is a static device. You have seen many places that transformer is always static. It is not a movable device. That is why it is called static device. And from this classified figure, you can understand that losses in transformers of many types. They contains the iron losses, the copper losses. Two more losses are shown in here: stray losses and the dielectric losses. However, the magnitude of these two losses in comparison to the first two is very less. So generally, they are not considered or not studied in the details. And further, these iron or core losses can be divided into hysteresis losses as well as the eddy current losses. In this video lecture, we will study in details about the copper losses, and that is the winding losses, and also the core losses that occurs in iron. Since these are the two primary types of electrical losses in the transformer, and as we go through with this, we will study that these copper losses are the ohmic losses and generally represented by I square R, and it can be represented by this PC, where C stands for the copper losses here, and conductor losses also can be considered here, and the iron losses or the core loss is represented by the Pi in this derivation, which we will go through just. About the copper losses or the I square R losses, these losses occur in the winding of the transformer when heat is dissipated due to the current passing through the winding and the internal resistance offered by the winding. So whenever current will pass through the resistance, it will dissipate the heat, and that will give us the losses. So due to this reason, these losses are also known as ohmic losses. And if I is current which is passing through a resistance having a value R, so I square R will be the losses, and these losses are present in both the windings, so in primary winding as well as in the secondary winding, and transformer, and it also depends on the load that is attached across the secondary winding. What amount of load is attached in the secondary side, that will also be considered for the calculation of the losses in the winding, that is the copper loss. It is also that the current varies with the variation in load. So these are the variable losses. These losses will change as the load on the secondary side will change. So the total loss, the total copper loss, that is total I square loss in the transformer, will be the sum of the loss, copper loss in the primary winding as well as in the secondary winding. So in primary winding, current which is flowing is I1, and the resistance of the primary winding is considered to be R1 in series. So the total copper loss in primary winding will be I1 square R1. Similarly, for secondary side, current is I2 and the resistance for the secondary side is R2. So the copper losses in this secondary side will be I2 square R2, and the total will be the sum of these two values. As we have already stated at the time of introduction of construction of the transformer, that there is a transformation ratio and the turn ratio, which is nothing but the ratio of the number of turns in the primary to the secondary, and it is inversely proportional to the current. So at that time, this will be I2 over I1. On making the cross multiplication to this, we will have with this equation with us. I1 N1 equals to I2 N2, and from this I can calculate the value of I1, and the value of I1 will becomes I2 multiplied by N2 over N1. Now I will put this value of I1 from this equation number 4 in equation number 1. So what we have with us is that this total copper loss PC is equals to this value, and if I will take this I2 square common is with the expression, so I have with me I2 square equals to N2 over N1 square R1 plus R2, and this N2 over N1 is nothing but it is 1 over A square, because turn ratio is N1 over N2, so it will be 1 over A. So I can write this equation further like this, and it is important to note here that this bracketed expression now, that is R2 plus R1 A square. So R2 plus R1 over A square. It is nothing. We have already studied it the time of referred value, that is in the equivalent resistance in the secondary side. So the copper loss will be the I2 square Re2, where Re2 is the equivalent resistance in the secondary side and I2 square is the current. So in languageable term, what we can say that the copper losses varies as the square of the load current, and this is the load current because this is the secondary current which is flowing in the secondary side, that is the load side. Similarly, we can calculate it for primary side, and in this part again the total core loss is nothing but the copper losses in primary side and the secondary side, again writing the same equation and finding out the value of I2 this time. So I2 will be I1 N1 over N2, and now I am putting the value of I2 from here, that is from equation number 9 to equation number 7. I will put the value of I2 here, and in this case PC will be I1 square R1 plus this factor I1 N1 N2 square R2. Again solving in the same manner, I am taking I1 square outside the bracket, and it becomes R1 N1 N2 square R2. N1 N2 is nothing but it is the turn ratio A square. So now I have with me R1 A square R2, and R1 A square R2 is nothing but it is transferred to the primary side. So this time this will be the equivalent resistance on the primary side, and this PC, that is the total copper loss, now becomes I1 square Re1. So ultimately what we have seen from this derivation is that the copper loss varies as the square of the load current. This is all about this, and PC total copper loss in primary and secondary will be the same. Now we will solve it for the iron losses. It is the another important part in the form of losses, and these iron losses occurs in the core of the transformer, and they are generated due to the variation in the flux. Whatsoever the change in flux, that will be responsible for the generation of this type of losses, and these losses depends on the magnetic properties of the material which are present in the core. So they are also known as iron losses, as the core of the transformer is made up of iron, and since they do not change like the load, so these losses are also constant. So there will be no change on such type of constant because they are considered to be constant, and this iron losses is made up of consist of two type of losses. One is the hysteresis loss, and another one is the eddy current losses, and the total iron losses is the sum of these two, that is hysteresis as well as the eddy current losses. Now we will calculate first the hysteresis losses and then the eddy current losses, and as per the definition, hysteresis losses is defined as the electrical energy which is required to realign the domains of ferromagnetic material which is present in the core of transformer, and these domains lose their alignment when an alternating current is supplied to the primary winding of the transformer, and then the EMF is induced in the ferromagnetic material of the core, and that disturbs the alignment of the domains, and afterward they do not realign properly. So for their proper realignment, some external energy is required, and that is supply, and usually in the form of current it is required. So the extra energy is known as hysteresis loss, and mathematically that hysteresis loss is represented by this expression KHFB Bm power x. Here this kh value is nothing but it is a proportionality constant, and the value of this kh depends on the volume and the quality of the core material and the unit what we are using, and f is the frequency, and bm is the maximum flux density in the core, and x, this power x, This power x is known as Steinmetz hysteresis constant, and its value varies with a value of 1.5 to 2.5, and it depends on the magnetic properties of the core material. Similarly, one another type of losses that contribute to iron losses is the eddy current losses, and eddy current losses is the occurs when an alternating current is supplied to the primary winding of the transformer. It generates an alternating magnetic flux in the winding, and which is then induced in the secondary winding also through the Faraday's law of EMI, and is then transferred to externally connected load. And during this process, the other conduction material of the core is composed of also gets linked with this flux, and EMF is induced. But this magnetic flux does not contribute anything towards the externally connected load. So the extra flux which is generated is not using in form of output power, and it is dissipated in the form of heat energy. If any of the conduction material gives any of the flux and that is not using in the output form, then that is considered to be this eddy current losses. And the mathematical expression of this eddy current losses given by this P equals to Ke F square Bm square. Here again, this Ke is again a proportionality constant, and its value also depends on the volume and resistivity of the core material. It also depends on the thickness of laminations that we will use, and the units what we are using. F is again the frequency, Bm is again the maximum flux density in the core. So this is all about the hysteresis losses and the eddy current losses. Mathematically, if we are interested to taking their contribution, so this total core loss is the sum of hysteresis loss as well as the eddy current loss. So the total core iron loss or the core loss Pi is nothing but the sum of these two losses, equation number 2 and the equation number 3. So I can write here that the total iron loss will be the sum of these two. Now, as we know from the EMF equation of the transformer that approximate voltage is applied and the voltage induced in the primary side will be same. So V1 will be equals to E1, and the magnitude of this will be 4.44 phi m F N1. Here phi is the flux, F is the frequency, N1 is the number of turns in the primary. So similarly, the phi is considered to be the multiplication of Bm, that is the magnetic flux, maximum flux, and AI is the area of the iron core, and we got equation number 6, and this is nothing but this is the EMF equation. And now if we will write it for the hysteresis loss first. So for hysteresis loss, this is the expression which is KHF BMX. So now we are taking the value of this BM from this equation number 6. I can write equation number 7. So BM will be nothing but the V1 divided by the remaining expression, that is 4.44 EIF N1, and now putting this value of Bm in this expression of hysteresis, hysteresis loss, and on solving and writing it again, I have with me this expression KHF and the power of BMX, and the value of Bm is nothing but the V1 over 4.44 AIF N1. Now solving this, what I am doing, I am taking this V1 and F in this side. So V1F raised to power x, F is exactly the same, and the remaining all terms, that is 1 over 4.44 AIN1, it will be taken on this side. And on writing it further, what we are taking, that we are taking this F on the upper side. So it will be F raised to power minus x. Since the base are same, so the power will be added. So we will get this expression with us. Now, if we are supposing that this whole expression is nothing but it is considered with a new constant, that is capital KH, and it gives us that this hysteresis loss is nothing but it is the this constant KH, V1 raised to power x and F raised to power 1 minus x. So what we can conclude from this equation 11 for the hysteresis losses is that this hysteresis loss depends on two factors, because this is the constant. So it depends on this V1, that is the applied voltage, as well as it also depends on the frequency, that is F with the power 1 minus x, and x is nothing but it is the Steinmetz constant of hysteresis constant, value 1.5 to 2.5. Similarly, we can calculate the eddy current losses, and with the expression we have shown above, the eddy current losses can be expressed as Pe equals to Ke F square Bm square, and F is frequency, Bm is the maximum magnetic flux, magnetic field, and K is the constant. And now solving again, putting the value of Bm from the equation number 7. from this equation. So putting the value of Bm here, we have with us that P equals to Ke, and this F will be cancelled out with this F. So we have with this Ke V1 over this factor square. Now taking this V1 square outside, so the remaining factor, this one will be considered again with a new constant, that is capital Ke. So what the relation comes out is that this eddy current loss is directly proportional to the square of the applied voltage. Okay, and you will observe here that there is no frequency at all. However, the frequency is there. In the terms of hysteresis loss, it depends on frequency as well as on the applied voltage. However, in terms of eddy current, it depends only on the applied voltage square, but not on the frequency. And we can also understand with this relation that since V1 equals to this equation and V1 is directly proportional to BMF, therefore for any given voltage for this constant value of this V1, Bm is inversely proportional to F and F is proportional to 1 over Bm. So if one increases, the other will decrease. So if the F increases, then Bm decreases, or F decreases, then Bm increases. And using the expression which we have derived here, that is equation number 16 as well as the equation number 11, what we can write that the resultant core loss, that is the total core loss, can be given as with this, and it is nothing but the hysteresis loss as well as the iron loss, that is core loss, sorry, eddy current loss. There are two other losses are also here, but the value of, as I already told, that the value of these losses is very small. So one is the stray losses, and the occurrence of these stray losses is due to the presence of leakage field, and the percentage of these losses are very small when it is compared to the iron loss and the copper loss. So it can be neglected. Similarly, for dielectric losses, and these dielectric losses occurs in the insulating material of the transformer, and it may be the transformer oil, solid or in the solid insulation, and when the oil get deteriorated or the solid insulation get damaged or its quality decreases, and because of this the efficiency of the transformer gets affected. So these are the losses generally occurs in the transformer, and the important is there are different kinds of losses happen to occur in transformer, and being an electrical engineer, it should be taken care that these losses and try to reduce as low as possible. So transformer has two states of operation. One is without load and the other is the with load. So most of these error appears when the load is applied on the transformer. So this is all about the losses in the transformer. Now we will take a problem related to this. So in the first problem, the full load copper loss. So full load copper loss of a transformer is 1600 watt, and at half load the copper loss will be. It is asked that at half load what will be the copper loss. As we know that this copper loss is I square R. So the copper loss is proportional to the square of current flowing in the conductor. So it is I square. Therefore, at half the load current, the copper loss drops to 1 by 4. That is 1 by 2 square, half square. So half square becomes 1 by 4 times. So the full load current copper loss, therefore at half load it will be 400. So 1600 multiplied by 1/4, it becomes 400 watt. In the second problem, what is given in here is this. During a test on 6 kVA transformer, is found that iron losses are 120 watt, a full load copper losses are 200 watt. The total losses at a half a full load will be the what? How much will be the losses? As we have we have just read it out that the iron losses are constant, so there will be no change in the iron losses. Iron loss will not be changed. Okay. However, there will be change in the copper losses, and just what we have seen in this part, that if the half load is taken, then the power is I square, so half load it becomes 1/4. So in this case, again required load, so half power 2 multiplied it by 200, now it becomes 50 watt. So this is the 50 watt, and the iron loss is 120 watt. Then there will be no change in the iron losses, so the total loss will be the 120 plus 50, so it will be the 170 watt. On the discussion, I have given problem to you. You can solve this problem based on this video lecture, and I think you will solve these problem very easily just by taking the consideration we have taken these two problems. So this is all about the losses in the transformer, and these are the references you can follow. And thank you for watching this video. For any query, you can write me to write me at my email vijayasharma@dweca.ac.in. Thank you.